Oh, I like having those speakers. I can actually hear it through the headphones.
I like it.
It's nice. Why'd all the laughing stop?
I wish I could say this is my first beer of Friday, but it's really like my fourth.
I started celebrating.
This is the only beer that I have ever enjoyed in my entire. I know, isn't it great?
That is so good.
It's
I
like
told you,
wow, that was
I
a
could
good
drink
call.
an entire 6-pack of this and not bad none. It
Wouldn't wanna-
tastes like soda.
we want to puke this shit up.
Why? So you can have more?
Well,
And
of course, make room for more.
Welcome back to another episode of Stories from the Shed. My name
Perfect
is Adam.
transition.
And with me again this week, a man who, like a zit, is going to wait till you're 12 before he comes on your face. Jake, how you doing?
I told you it was perfect.
I'm telling you, I just keep getting more inappropriate as we go.
Good night, everybody. I'm going to... I don't even know how to respond to you right now. Someone else fucking take it. We got a couple of guests this week. Jurgen's back. Hello.
Hello.
We got my stepsister, Emily, who was actually supposed to be a co-host originally, but now she's finally joining us, and I'm very excited.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. Finally
Good.
decided to give you one of my Friday nights. So.
Finally. I can't blame you. After hearing my intro, I can totally understand why you wouldn't want to spend every Friday night being ridiculed.
I've been waiting to say this all day.
Yeah, I'm sure you have, you fucking pedophile.
He sent me the intro via text during work.
How rude.
It was perfect.
How come
you-
I don't get
so
notified in any
topical.
of the...
Because then it wouldn't be a surprise, Jake.
That's so true.
It wouldn't be a genuine reaction.
What did I tell you earlier? The owner of my company is probably going to listen to this here shortly.
Bro, as soon as you
You are
said
going to
that.
get my ass fired.
Everybody
which, by the
at
way,
work listens to this right now at the bank.
and
This
as,
is going to get us in trouble, and I don't even care.
as soon as you said that to me, that your boss was listening to this, I was like, fucking great intro, you know? I'm like,
Yeah, right.
Here you
Hi,
go.
boss. By the way, you
catch
learned something
anything.
new about me tonight.
learn something new about me. I tell everybody it's not true, Jake.
Holy fuck, Adam. You're going to get me fucking shot.
No, listen. This is a
This is a family-friendly podcast.
this is
No.
a safe space, Jake.
Oh, I'm so
No.
happy.
We're,
I'm so happy.
We're a true crime podcast with a twist of satire.
That apparently likes to
Right?
do unspeakable things. I won't even utter the words out of my mouth.
So, Jurgen, what brings you back?
What do you think?
The podcast.
I
yeah.
just kind of live here now.
She moved in last week.
Yeah, kind of live in the shed now.
Where's the rent? And Emily, nice to have you back. It's been a while. I think we did. We did like a introduction thing, and then it.
I don't know
Yeah.
if we ever released
I
it.
don't think
No,
we did.
it wasn't released. I would have remembered that.
That's so true.
I was trying to. I was thinking back. I was like, I don't think it was, but
No, we did a couple recording sessions, but it never got aired because I decided Friday nights were for me. Some me time.
it is hard. It is a commitment.
It
Es-
is.
especially-
And I like my weekends. I work literally all week doing a very boring, but
Yeah.
rewarding, but boring
Oh, it's great.
desk job.
We all just love our desk jobs.
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic.
Y'all can keep your desk jobs.
I
I'll
don't-
keep sanding shit.
I don't want to sand for a living. I like my lungs being clean and clear.
Yeah, I come home and blow my nose and it's gray. It's like the color of my MacBook. It's pretty. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway,
So what do we got going on here, Jurgen? What's the brewski
Oh,
of
God.
Friday night?
All right. So it's called I Want to Be a Cowboy Too.
oh, me too.
Who doesn't?
And it's by Hoof-Hearted Brewing. And let's see here. I believe it's the same one that we drank a while ago. Same brewery from like Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
It is a double dry hopped sour India Pale Ale with vanilla and milk sugar added.
So I'm not gonna lie. There's a dude. Okay, so there's a dude that looks like he's parasailing or I don't know, doing something on the water. I don't know.
This
I'm an
almost
idiot.
looks illegal.
And then there's another dude that looks like he's on a jetpack that goes on his feet, and the guy that is like riding this jetpack thing looks like fucking what's his face, Randy from Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah, and the
Just
guy
a
in the
smaller guy.
parasail looks kind of like Alan Jackson with assless chaps.
And the cowboy boots.
Yes.
And the bright yellow Speedo.
Yeah, that's very bright. That's like highlighter yellow.
Yeah, I don't think it's illegal. I just don't advise going.
Well, he's gonna make something stick out.
I don't even. Is that parasailing? That's not.
or windsurfing?
Yeah.
Windsurfing.
I
Yeah,
think it's
there we go.
windsurfing. And
Yeah.
you know what? I don't advise doing that with very, very slippery cowboy boots on.
I think if I drank a few of these, I might give it a shot.
That's probably the point.
That's probably the point.
I
yeah.
don't think I'd wear the assless chaps either. That's going to get waterlogged and heavy.
Yeah, you're going down, buddy.
Also, you're gonna get sunburned in a very specific part of your body.
Just gonna be sunk down till the bubbles disappear.
You're gonna get some exotic tan lines.
Right.
Well, this is kind of an appropriate beer for the night, being brewed in South Carolina. The story's from a neighboring state.
Oh, it's in
I'm
North
sorry, this is from
Carolina.
North Carolina. The story's in South Carolina, so it's kind of a hometown brew almost to the story.
Almost.
Almost.
What are you guys thinking of this? What are we giving it?
I got to try it again.
I know what I'm giving it.
I forgot the scale. Is it 1
It's
to
1
5?
One
to
to
5
five.
Scully fingers.
All right, 5 is good.
5 is the best.
Five is the
5 is
best.
that if you finish that, you might just drop dead of happiness right now in the shed.
And we're going to preface this by saying I don't think we've had a beer that's gotten 5 stars yet.
I think we have.
We have.
we?
You're
Which
just
one
so
was
drunk
it?
all the time.
It was the one that I bought for like the ACS murders by the same people. With the one that had like Godzilla on the label.
Yes.
Well, that was why I gave it 5 stars. It was fucking Godzilla.
Reptar.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that too.
I don't know the difference.
So what are you giving this one?
I'm giving it 5 because it's way better than that other one.
We need a fucking shed bell. Every time we get a 5, we got a ding-a-ling-a-loo. Where's the shed bell? Put it on the list of ordered things we need to order. We need a shed bell.
You
We
an
also need the
Amazon wish
recording
list.
light.
More cowbell.
More cowbell.
I'm going to give this baby a 4 Scully fingers, which is pretty good. I'm digging it. The can's kind of crazy. I like the helicopter.
Is it the
can is
can or the
perfect.
label?
Yeah.
The label. The can's normal. Normal can.
I'm definitely I like how the label only covers part of the can. The rest of the can's just silver and blank. But like the label, like the sticky part. I don't know. That's pretty interesting design. I'm gonna give it 5 because
A
I don't
5.
even like beer.
Damn,
Mind
we
you,
need
I
that bell.
absolutely hate beer,
want
but
one.
this stuff is so good. I could drink this every day and get a beer belly and be happy about it.
Happy to get fat over beer.
Wow.
There's nothing wrong with
it's
that.
really
No.
not even that hoppy because usually beer makes me burp like a lot, and I've only burped once from it.
Yeah, it's not hoppy at all. Like I think
like
it
it.
kind of tastes like, I don't know, like gummy bears almost.
Yeah.
It's like the sweetest beer I've ever tasted, and like most beers people say are sweet, they're not sweet. This is.
I'm going to give it 4. No particular reason. Just 4.
So I guess this baby gets a 4.5 Scully finger rating from the shed this week.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding. Where's the bell?
You're the bell.
I'm the bell. Jurgen,
What?
are we doing tonight?
We are doing Wee Gaskins.
Ooh, who's that?
Ooh. He's got a cool name.
Yeah, he's a real weirdo. And this is going to be a fun one, I think.
Are you telling me the captain of the cool guy club is a weirdo?
Yeah.
Really? I don't believe you.
I mean, he's not like cool like Ed,
oh,
but
okay.
he's like right there.
So is he part of like a different cool guy club?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool and crazy. That club. That's a side.
Cool and what's the word I'm looking for? Not put together, but cool and collected. Cool, calm, and collected.
I don't know that's true.
I don't think calm is the right word
Yeah.
to describe this man.
Oh, okay, that's fair. All
he
right.
has no calm.
He has
So-
no chill.
None.
What's
Zero.
Pee Wee Gaskin known for? What was he known for?
Final truth.
The final truth. No, he was nicknamed actually the meanest man in America.
Oh shit.
Yeah. He has done basically every crime you could possibly do.
Anything.
You name it, Pee Wee's done it. He probably wrote the book on it.
Cyber terrorism.
Okay, well, it was kind of early for that.
All right. Well, you said every
it's time.
crime.
It wasn't a crime back in his day. He's too old for that.
That's fair.
But before
If
we
it
get
was there, he would have.
yeah, oh yeah, he would have figured it out. But before we get too far into what he did later on, we should probably take the story back to old Donald Pee Wee Gaskin's childhood.
Yeah.
Now, he was born on March 13th in 1933. He was born in South Carolina. This is a great state to be in.
South Carolina is beautiful.
Yeah, especially in 1933.
Oh, I'm sure it is. At a young age, he was teased and given the nickname Pee Wee because he was very small. Violence and ridicule followed him from his house, and his stepfather basically beat him into submission when he got home from school. And he would fight with kids at school, and it was really hard for him to make friends.
Side note is that his family says he was never abused. He was never punished even, really, which is kind of an unusual thing, especially for, a kid in the South in the 30s. But that's just what others have said. Now, Pee Wee Gaskin, he, like a lot of other young people. At the age of 11, he decided to quit school. He started working on cars at a local garage.
Oh, this is sounding familiar.
Yeah.
Kinda
Kinda like you,
He
Jake.
started working at 11 years old.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't have the, take
It was
in
a
mind,
different time.
It was a
I get
different
it.
time, yeah. What the hell is this kid doing at a garage?
How are you strong enough to? I can't even take
Well, he's
lug nuts
little
off
and
of a
stuff
car.
like that. They can like stick him into weird places.
But yeah, I would say he was Pee-wee.
That's true.
Pee-wee squeezing up
He
in
could
there.
fit right into the engine bay.
Get your hand in there, change that light bulb.
Yeah, right. Get in there, undo that lower engine mount. I can put you right behind the motor. You're like 80 pounds, maybe.
But get this, while he
4'3".
was working there, he met two other boys, Danny and Marsh.
Were they both 11 as well?
Probably.
This sounds like child
Yeah,
labor.
they were around the same age.
The 40s were a simpler time.
Well, these kids, they were around the same age. They were all out of school, and they teamed up to call themselves the Troubled Trio, which is kind of like a gang unit, you know?
Yeah.
What were this gang doing? What were these kids doing in their neighborhood?
So the trio burglarized homes, picked up prostitutes, and even raped little boys. They would
Wow.
threaten the little boys so
Okay.
they wouldn't go to the police. And that is just the beginning.
Whoa.
Definitely
Oh,
a
dear.
super cool guy.
Yeah, you taking back all that shit you said earlier?
No, I still think he's a super cool guy, of
is
course.
swell.
Let's let him run for president.
Oh, God.
We've had worse.
No, that's like not even it. They like had some sort of like shed or shack they hung out
Oh, God.
in. Yeah.
Hey, whoa. Hold on. Where's the record scratch? Yeah, there you go.
Adam, what's in the other shed?
Pee-wee.
Anyway, no, like legit. They'd hang out in the shed and like have a circle jerk
Whoa.
and like
What?
rape chickens and stuff.
I mean, we're sitting in a
That's
circle,
how you
it's
know
not
this
like
is
that.
this is the deep south. I mean,
I'm not even kidding now.
Wait, chickens?
Chickens.
Like the small bird.
the small bird.
well, they're not all that small, apparently. I think
Oh
they
my
went after
God.
the bigger ones. I'd
Maybe
imagine.
that's why they liked him so much.
Nobody
Like, what
was
do you
screwing
do
guinea
with them
hens.
after?
You let them run away, I guess.
I
Then they
don't-
go lay an egg or something. Whatever a chicken does.
What kind of fucked up egg is that? But wow.
You let them go and they go lay an egg.
Oh, what else do
Oh my
chickens do?
God.
They eat little ticks and they
Well,
lay eggs.
worse than
is why Mom
chicken
has
fucking.
chickens.
Chicken fucking's the beginning. This is child's play at this point.
Child's play.
This is kid
I
shit.
mean, I imagine that plenty of people did that and didn't turn out to be
Plenty
serial
of people
killers.
fuck chickens.
It was the 40s.
This is the 40s in the South. There's probably a chicken fucker amongst us in the shed right now, for all I know.
Oh my-
They say 1 in 4 people fucks chickens.
Jake,
Again, not eggs. Again, what is in the other shed? We have not yet figured that out.
the lock is never coming off.
I hear it's the better shed.
I mean, it's bigger.
It's bigger on the inside.
So,
I don't think I've laughed this much on an episode yet. Holy shit.
so,
We're just getting going.
but
I know,
to bring
it's
this back
crazy.
from animal fucking to actual, well, I guess that is a crime, but to a worse crime, they would even gang up and rape Marsh's little sister.
yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and they would jerk each other off. This is just some weird shit. I hate this. I feel weird even talking about.
You know what they
You're
call
making me
those?
blush.
You know what they call those? They call those bro jobs.
Bro jobs.
Maybe in
Bro
2000s. Maybe not in the 1940s.
Hey, they're just living their best life in the
That's
40s.
right. That's right. How dare you judge them?
They're just experimenting with their sexuality.
That's okay.
No. They should have just sat on their arm, let it fall asleep, and then whacked themselves off with a sleeping arm.
They call that the
It
stranger.
feels like it's somebody else, the stranger. I mean, you don't, guys, you young kids listening to this podcast, none of that shit.
No, actually, I prefer. Never mind.
Tell us more, Jake.
Although it seems like things couldn't.
Jake prefers the go-gurt.
So,
I've never been so happy to be made fun of.
It's a good thing you didn't leave.
now they quickly go from chicken fucking and jerking each other off to burglary.
Yeah. So let's see here. In 1946, the girl who knew Gaskins interrupted him when he was burglarizing her home. She struck him with an axe. He managed to get away from her and struck her in the head with an arm before fleeing the scene. Luckily, the girl survived the attack. Gaskins was arrested and convicted of assault with a deadly weapon and intent to kill. I don't know how you do that if you're just hitting someone with your arm.
You know what? Some people say it was with the arm, but
Arm.
I had read somewhere that he had hit her with the back end of the axe.
That makes more sense.
There's your deadly weapon.
right.
Well, wouldn't he rather hit her with the deadly part of the axe if he was trying to kill her?
I don't know if he was necessarily trying to kill her, or maybe he was just acting out of like,
Maybe his arms were deadly weapons.
or well, being in shock, right? Like, oh shit, somebody's here! Boom.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it could have been something like that, but luckily she did not die. She was able to survive the attack, but she was also able to say who had broken into her house, because this guy had a record, at least amongst the community at this time, of being the kind of guy that does stuff like this, and probably some of the stuff that was happening in their shack.
Right. Like I read that like she knew what was going on with Marcia's sister, and that's why she freaked out. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would make sense, you know.
She must have been older than him. It wasn't his type. He does like them young. We can see from his track record.
Yeah.
later
And he's
on,
clearly
too.
not specific to any gender.
Or
Yeah.
feathers.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, it doesn't
Feathered
matter about
friends.
species, age, gender. It doesn't matter.
So, like we were saying, she was able to say who did this. So, of course, he goes to court for this.
Yep.
And
Yeah, during the court proceedings, it was the first time he had heard his real name spoken in his whole life, which is weird.
so we thought his name was Pee-wee the entire time.
I guess so.
Oh, Pee-wee.
Oh.
Well, actually,
Wow.
like I very briefly read something online about how his mom neglected him so bad that he didn't even know his real name. Like she just did not talk to him. He had like so many siblings, and she was just so overworked and just didn't care about any of her children.
That makes
she
me
just, like-
sad.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's like the norm for serial killers is neglect and childhood trauma and
Something
stuff
like that always is in the
it
past.
always can go back to something that happened in the
Happened
past.
to my
For him,
aunt.
it was
My God.
neglect. So that's where that came
So
from.
yeah, he was sent to the South Carolina Industrial School for Boys until he turned 18.
I wonder what they teach the boys at the industrial school. Maybe just trade stuff like that.
I would imagine.
Excuse me. Try to rehab them, maybe.
Try to turn these boys into men, give them an education, and get them out working and not back to crime is probably the main goal there.
Where was Jordan Peterson back in 1940? Some shit. So at the reform school, he was almost immediately attacked and raped due to his small stature, which kind of unfortunately makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess. He spent his time either accepting protection from the boss boy in exchange for sex or attempting to escape.
Now, the boss boy, this would be the guy that's looked at as the person in charge
This is
in
the
that
big
area
dude you don't
of
fuck with
the
in
prison,
prison.
in that
Yeah.
pod or whatever they call it now. Back then,
Like the shot caller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so he's the boss boy, and he became the boss boy's bitch. From what I understand, the boss boy would rape him, do whatever he wanted, would even trade him for
Trade him for smokes and stuff.
commissary and stuff like that. Yeah,
Wow.
you can have Pee-wee if I can have the butt.
And they actually,
thing.
like, not to, like, jump too far ahead, became, like, buddies and stuff like that after he was released from prison.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
That is a completely different culture that I hope to never
Yeah.
understand.
They became, like,
Yeah.
best friends until that boss boy guy, I don't remember his name, like, and, like, ended up, like, shooting himself because his whole family died in a trailer fire.
Yes, I had heard that too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Holy shit. All right. So he gets released from reform school, and after he is released, he starts working at. Oh, wait a minute. Did I skip ahead?
I believe he escaped from the reform school.
Yeah, he just took off.
He
wasn't
escaped.
released.
Is there
Yeah.
any like info on how he got out? Because he has a history of this too.
Yeah.
Escaping.
He's just a little guy.
Yeah, he just
little
squeaked
guy.
right through the gates. But
See, that's what he learned when he was working at the garage so little. He learned how to squeeze into little places.
and he squeezed himself out of the school. Now he got on with a traveling carnival, which seems like a good thing, a good idea for a guy that's on the run to be on the go.
Right.
He ends up marrying a 13-year-old girl.
How old was he when this happened?
He was at least 18.
Yeah, which I guess isn't that odd if you take into consideration the time. And
The
That's
time
neat.
and that it's the South. Her name was Mary. I know that.
We're not shitting on the South.
I mean,
Sorry,
it's
everybody.
only
I am.
5 years difference.
You can do
but,
whatever
like,
you'd like.
When she's 13 and he's 18, I don't care really what generation or geography you're at. That's a little weird.
But either way, you know what? She's the one that was level-headed because she actually convinced him to return to the reform school and finish his sentence.
Good.
That way they don't have to be on the run.
And this is where I am supposed to come in. Excuse me. After he was released from the reform school,
He's
this
already
beer is
drunk.
really hitting me. I know. This is what
Because
happens.
it's delicious.
It is. So he gets released after he finishes serving his sentence, and he starts working at a tobacco farm. He starts getting involved in insurance fraud while he's there, and his partner that he worked with, they had collaborated with local tobacco farmers to burn their barns for a fee. So
Yeah, so
that sounds
basically,
like a cool guy to keep around.
what they were doing was they were stealing the tobacco out of these barns to sell on the side.
Yeah.
And then lighting the barns on fire
Collecting the
to
insurance
get rid of
money.
the evidence also. So it's a double.
Huh.
That's ingenious.
That is
They're
really,
literally
really smart.
profiting off of their profit.
Profiting off the double dipping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but imagine in this town, all of a sudden, well, that's the 13th fucking tobacco farm to go up this month. I mean, it's how long does
What
that
a
go on?
coinky dink.
Yeah, right.
Right.
You know, and so it's that's sweet
What's
stuff.
the
is
darndest
flaming.
thing? They just keep blowing up.
Don't point at me like I know what I'm doing.
Well, I thought you were gonna say.
You know what? Before you keep pointing at me, let's just take a beer break.
Okay. Well, no, I thought.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you very much.
I'm gonna drink this in your honor.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So we're back to more Pee Wee Gaskins.
More?
More. There's
More.
more. Hold on to your seat, Jakey. There's a lot more.
I can't. My ass is too big.
So as these fires are going on, like we were saying,
What fires? Oh, the tobacco
the
fires.
tobacco fires, people in the area begin to wonder about Gaskins.
Adam, that ant is fucking bugging me. Can you please kill it?
It's right
No,
above your
don't
head.
kill it.
We'll let that
There's
thing
spiders in here to eat
But
that.
That's
it's
right.
bothering Jacob.
So anyway, so people in the community start to wonder about Gaskins in association with all these barn fires. At one time, an employer's daughter questioned him about the barn fires. Now, he freaked out, like, oh, shit, she's on to me, right? And he splits the girl's head with a hammer.
Is this the one that got sassy with him?
She got a little sass.
Got a little sass.
She got big
Before
mouth.
or after the hammer to the head?
Why not both?
Well, no, I was just going to say probably at both. So, yeah, he cracked her in the melon. And for this, though, Jake,
Okay. Yep.
that and the melon
That
there.
was so casual.
He only got 5 years in prison for the assault.
That's it?
Yeah, and this is an assault with a deadly weapon with the attempt to murder.
And it's not his first charge.
Right.
Attempted murder, so she didn't die.
No, dude. He cracked her in the moulet, and she lived to tell the... she lived to tell the tale. This guy is just really weak. He hits somebody with an axe, doesn't die.
That's why judges keep letting him off.
Oh,
He's
Pee-wee.
so tiny they think he couldn't possibly do it again.
Oh,
Pee-wee's
you don't
gone.
have enough arm strength to break someone's skull open?
I don't know.
She
but...
must have exaggerated those injuries.
Yeah.
Just slightly.
So while he's in prison, this is when he commits his first murder. This was an attempt to become a power man.
Ooh.
Power man. And with that, I'm going to leave it to you, Jurgen. Tell me about the power man.
All right. Well, power men are the most brutal and feared inmates.
You made it sound really gay.
Nothing wrong with that. So Gaskins decided to kill a fellow inmate would be enough to keep the other inmates from bothering him. He was found guilty of manslaughter and sentenced to 6 months of solitary confinement, but he accomplished his goal of becoming a power man.
Totally worth it.
Yeah, I do it. The newly found status made his life in prison more enjoyable.
I'm sure it did.
So he killed this guy named Hazel Brazel
Hazel Brace.
Oh,
while
I
he
love
was
that
naked on the
name.
shitter. Didn't he spill his neck guts out?
What?
Yeah, what had happened? Okay, so this is how this goes, right? So
Was this a very heartfelt conversation?
Hazel, what was the last?
Hazel Brazel.
Hazel Brazel, right? This guy being a power man, right? He always had security with him because he
Okay.
ain't fucking with the power man.
Right.
So there was always at least 2 guys with Hazel Brazel, right? So one day, one of his guys that's normally watching over him, bodyguarding him, he's doing something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then the other guys, Hazel's on the shitter eating an apple fritter, and old intro, Jake. But so he's
No, I know where that came from. You don't have to explain that to me.
and he says, Gaskins goes up to his other security guy and he says, well, I need to talk to Hazel or whatever. And the guy, the security guard kind of talks to Hazel, says, yeah, let Pee-wee in, that kind of a thing. Pee-wee goes in. And how does this go? Did you get anything on how it goes? He's like, lets out a... Pee-wee says this. That he lets out this big fart or something.
What?
Yeah, it was this thing. He
Tell
lets
me
out
more.
Well, secret's out. Secret's out. He lets out this fart as he's stabbing him in the neck, spewing his neck innards all over the place. Yeah.
I really don't want to kink shame. That's not what this is about. But what?
Yeah. There's some fart involved in this murder. That's what...
You know, I could see that happening. I think, I read a little bit about, he was, buttering him up to begin with, bringing him brownies and shit. And that's, how he earned his trust.
The old prison brownie.
He does have that experience of being the boss's bitch. So, I guess he used his previous prison experience to
He used his
advantage.
charms.
Yeah, right.
Was it on his resume?
Yeah, it
On
was.
his CV.
Now, in 1955, his wife filed for divorce.
So which wife was this, do you know?
The 13-year-old?
I feel like she left after the reform school.
Yeah. Okay. It is definitely the 13-year-old.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
I thought he was with a 17-year-old.
I'm reading
Yeah,
ahead.
that's
Jesus.
afterwards.
So when he gets this information, he's still locked up, right? He flips and escapes from prison. Shortly thereafter, he remarries for the second marriage, only to last 2 weeks.
Oh, that was super serious.
Yeah, that's like Kardashian style,
I was
right?
just
Is that
going to say, there was a Kardashians marriage at last.
Yeah.
72.
And this girl was a sideshow girl at the carnival.
That's
Oh.
fun.
It is fun.
Isn't that where he met his first wife?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Cooper Lopez, you
That
were a
little
carny.
man
Maybe you could
whore.
chime in. I know she's going to hear that one. So this is when he becomes involved with Betty Gates. The two of them went to Tennessee to bail out Gates's quote-unquote brother. But when Gaskins arrives back to the hotel, there's a surprise. You know what that surprise is?
I love
It
surprises.
was actually her husband.
Her husband.
What?
He gets involved with this woman, says, we got to help my brother get out of jail. Even buys him a pack of smokes.
So, no, basically what happened with that is she told him once they got to Tennessee that she had, tons of warrants out, so she couldn't, go into the prison. So she sent Pee-wee in there with, a box with, tons and tons of, cartons of smokes in there, but what was inside was a razor, and he used that to get out. Wow. Yeah.
So he didn't really know he was helping this guy.
No,
to
he had
escape.
no idea.
So is that why it lasted 2 weeks? She married this guy to get her.
It could have been a real marriage, if she's already married.
I almost get the feel like she was
Or maybe they just
using
didn't,
Pee-wee.
keep good records back
It
then.
was the
Maybe.
South in the 50s.
Right.
So who knows?
Who knows?
It could have actually been her brother.
We keep shitting on the South.
Could have been both.
We love them. They got good food.
And they're super nice.
They're
They're
super
just
nice.
the most pleasant people while they're killing you.
The South in the 30s, 40s, and 50s.
Y'all come back now.
You ain't never gonna want to leave because you have no legs anymore. God.
Y'all are never gonna leave.
Pee-wee doesn't get away with this for very
No,
long.
the
We
poli-
apologize to everyone from the South.
Right. So
That
the
was
police
pretty
arrived
rude.
at the hotel, and it didn't take them long to realize that he was an escaped convict. He was sent back to prison with an extra 9 months for aiding the escape of a prisoner.
Is it just me, or does this guy just get the easiest
He really
sentences?
does.
How though? Is it because he's small?
Well, I mean, he's committing the crime. I mean, he killed somebody in jail. He got, 6 months?
Is he just really charming?
I think he's a pretty charming man.
I feel like he needs a very straight male judge to be like, you are not funny. You're not cute.
Eventually, things do catch up to him, but not just yet. In August of 1961, he's released from prison again, and he goes back home. Now, he's unable to stay out of trouble because he can't help himself. He starts burglarizing
I
homes.
can't help it. It's all I know.
Now, he also starts working with a traveling minister as his driver and general assistant.
That's
Wow.
probably the best job he's ever had.
A
Maybe this
religious
minister.
assistant?
Yeah,
Well,
is that
maybe
like
this
is that
minister
code for
can-
mafia? I mean, a driver?
A driver.
Yeah,
For a
he's his driver and
minister.
general assistant for a minister.
He has one church. How much traveling does he do?
Well, maybe this minister is
It's
going to
like one
put
of
the
those-
fear of God in him.
If he's one of those creepy traveling ministers, maybe.
This ended up working well for Gaskins
the
because
South.
while they're traveling from town to town and maybe even state to state, he's burglarizing homes, and then he's back on the road to the next town or community. So his crimes at this point are very hard for him to be. They're not really catching up to him. At least
Yeah, there's no pattern in his trail.
right.
Here I go again on my own. That's all I could think about.
But you know
I
what?
don't know.
Not long after, Gaskins, a man with a lot of love to give, gets caught again for a statutory rape of a 12-year-old girl.
What the fuck?
Yeah, this time he's a little bit further north. He's in North Carolina, He's in a vehicle that, of course, is not his. It's a stolen vehicle. And once he's in North Carolina, he meets a 17-year-old girl where he marries. Nothing like a rape and a marriage while you're on vacation, right? I mean, that sounds like a movie.
Pretty typical.
She eventually turns him into the police for statutory rape, and he receives another 6 years at the Columbia Penitentiary.
Why only 6 years? He's got a record at this point.
He keeps like raping young, statutory rape.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's got rape on his record before, doesn't he?
And attempted murder.
Yeah. Why is he only getting 6 years?
the law is easy on Pee-wee, for sure.
For some reason.
I want to know why. That
Yeah.
doesn't make much sense to me, because I would imagine that attempted murderers who have escaped from prison at this point twice, like,
And he's got a manslaughter charge. I mean,
Right.
if you do the math, he's not even that old at this point. He's like 31.
Yeah, he's in his early
Yeah.
30s.
Yeah, and he's got a
Yeah.
horrible history.
And
Why
he's
is
like
he only
not
getting 6
served
years?
any of his
like
time.
manslaughter, prostitution, rape,
Right.
attempted murder, like
But he's moving around a lot. Maybe they're just not like covering their tracks.
Maybe
here.
jurisdictions
Yeah,
didn't
they're not
communicate as well
calling
as they
each
did
other.
now, you know.
Maybe.
But in November of 68, he's paroled yet again. Of course, he vows to never do it again, just like everybody else that gets released from prison.
Oh, yeah, of course.
oh, I'm never coming back 2 years later.
So throughout Gaskin's life, he described his feelings that forced him into criminal activity, which he referred to as them aggravated and bothersome feelings.
Him bothersome feelings. It's awful.
In September 1969, he found relief from these feelings.
Oh, how did he do that?
Wasn't jerking off.
Oh, okay. Well, it seems like he picked up a female hitchhiker in North Carolina, and apparently he got really mad when she laughed at his propositions.
Yeah, he beat her until she was unconscious.
Great response.
Gaskin raped, sodomized, and tortured her, and then went to a swamp to sink her weighted body so she could drown.
And you know what's interesting is before he did this, like a lot of other serial killers and such, he'd done this several times. He's picking up women and just dropping them off from here and there, taking it to the next level.
It's kind of like with Ed Kemper. Like, you know, when they laughed at him or whatever, that's when he'd snap.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I guess, you know, Gaskins was hearing no quite a bit. And
The difference between him and Ed Kemper, though, is Ed Kemper actually let some people go.
Right.
This guy did not.
And Ed Kemper was kind of sexy. So.
Oh, did we mention, by the way, that this... Okay. Wow. All right. Okay, by the way, did we mention that this guy also drove a hearse?
There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't even- I just don't-
If I had access to one, I would have one, Jay.
All you
listen.
need is a Volvo
Listen.
wagon.
Well, listen.
we haven't even gotten to that part yet.
Get a
of the
black
hearse.
one with
Listen.
tinted windows.
I have been rudely interrupted.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Now I forgot what I was saying.
He drove a hearse.
Okay. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but it's just odd. Because I would totally do it too, just because it would be fun, I think.
So,
But I also wouldn't go around saying, like this guy did, that I had my own personal cemetery. When you say creepy things like that, that kind of throws people off.
There's a little inside joke with himself.
Was it?
Really inside.
But when you're telling other people that, is it really an inside joke?
I don't know.
Sometimes these people, they feel the need to tell that. But we're going to get... I think that comes up a little bit later in
Quick
this.
question, though,
Does it?
Jake. How, like, hard would it be to convert a hearse into, like, an actual, like putting more seats into it?
It's already a vehicle.
I know, but...
But, oh, like to make a second and
So
third
you
row,
want
blah,
like
blah, blah.
4
yeah,
or 5
like
rows
take
in
all
it?
the, like, backloader shit out that's in there. And,
I
like...
don't feel like it would be that difficult, honestly.
Okay,
I'm
so
not really
you
sure.
could fit like a solid 5 or 6 rows of seats in there if you really wanted to.
And you know what? Even if you wanted an old hearse, you would just buy it and keep the 2 front seats or whatever is in the front. Maybe it's a bench seat. I don't know. I've never ridden or driven one. And then you just throw an air mattress in the back. You make it a camping vehicle. Fuck it.
Right on.
I would love to go camping in a hearse. All right.
All right. Sidetrack.
Sidetrack.
Yeah.
And we haven't even gotten to the hearse part yet.
That's some Patreon content.
So Gaskins preferred female victims, but he didn't mind males nonetheless. I mean, he would...
Well, no, he's already proven that. He raped little boys. as a
Gaskin
young
will take
kid.
it any way he can get it. And by 1975...
You know what? Let him live his best life.
At his jerk-off parties.
Yeah. He had 80 boys and girls along the highway in North Carolina. He stated that he had killed 80 boys and girls along the highways in North Carolina.
So when
Oh,
he got to
shit.
North Carolina in 69, between then and 75, he'd killed 80 people just on the highways.
Well, this
completely,
is
like,
this is stuff that he had said that he's done.
Yeah, I think that was stuff he added in the final truth. But
Truth.
I
here's
think it's
the thing.
bullshit.
Yeah, because nobody was really looking for any of these people. They never found anything.
Right. And if there's like 80 kids that go missing along like a highway in North Carolina, they're going to know about it.
I was just going to say, there has to be some way of looking up missing persons records or some kind of police reports about people who are like, my kid's been missing. Like,
We've been talking about Southern people for so long, the accent's rubbing off on you.
he was walking along the highway and just disappeared, never came home.
He
Like,
considered
Never
this
can know.
his weekend recreation. And there's some of the murders at
That's
this
a
time.
fucked up
Well,
hobby.
get this: some of the murders at this time did include his own 15-year-old niece and her friend. What he had done was he had lured them to an abandoned house where he beat and raped and drowned them. And what he had done was he brought them to a swamp, and he weighed them down, and he waited till the bubbles were gone.
I thought he threw one of them in a well.
You're right. He did throw one of them into
There
a
was
well.
something about a well that
Yeah.
I remember.
He did. He threw one into the well, one into a swamp, because he would put a lot of his victims in swamps.
That's weird. He has an obsession with drowning, which is like I've noticed that seems to be a pattern with this man.
I wonder if he almost drowned as a kid or
wonder
had
if
some sort of horrific event with water.
Well, his mom did neglect him, so I mean, maybe it's possible he almost drowned in that inch of water in a puddle or something.
Well,
possible.
as a child, I'd read something like he drank kerosene, or
I read that too.
did you? Yeah.
Yeah, there was something about kerosene and consuming it, and it made him have like seizures for a few years. It
Some-
was
I would
weird.
guess so.
Well, some
Yeah.
people have speculated that might have led to some of this behavior.
Yeah.
But Gaskins had a reputation for being kind of explosive, kind of guy that stirs turds around town. Everybody, a lot of people,
Different turd buckets.
different turd buckets, yeah. But people considered him to be mentally disturbed. A lot of times, people would try to avoid being around him. They tried to avoid even talking about him. I had heard. But he had very few. He had some people that did consider him to be a friend, and one of these people that Gaskins considered to be a friend was Doreen Dempsey.
Yes. Yeah, she was a mother of a 2-year-old baby girl and was pregnant with her second child at the time of her death. She was leaving town and decided to get a ride to the bus station from her old friend. Gaskins took her to a wooded area where he raped and killed her, and then raped, sodomized, and killed the baby. The two were buried together. Is this the one he went and stuck the hatchet in and stuck her in a stump?
Story goes that he
What
buried
the
a hatchet
fuck?
into the 2-year-old's head and like a cavernous area in the woods where maybe a stump would have rotted out. He stuffed the 2-year-old's body in that cavern.
Right.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
fucked up.
Awful.
Now, Gaskins was 42 years old in 1975. He had been killing steadily for the past 6 years. Got a healthy diet for murder. Up until then, he had worked along and helped.
He had worked alone, and that had helped him avoid being caught.
Yes.
Yep.
However, after he murdered 3 people. Yeah, oh, no, what is this? Hang on a second. However, after he murdered 3 people, when their van broke down on the side of the highway, very Ed Kempery too, right? Attack
Right.
people on the highway. He needed some help. He called up an ex-con, Walter Neely.
Why didn't he just call AAA?
I don't think that's in their job description to help murder.
He's not a gold member like I am. Thanks, Mom.
Didn't come out till the 90s.
Now, this guy, like Gaskins, is also an ex-con. He asked Neely to drive the victim's van to his garage so he could repaint it and sell it. So I wonder.
Oh, I would have helped him out. I know how to paint.
Is it a nice van?
Probably. Yeah.
It's probably one of those rape vans.
was
Actually,
just
a
gonna
lot of those
say-
70s vans are pretty great.
I bet you it had a rapey feel, and he's like, I gotta save this
What
thing.
were those VW hippie vans?
Yeah.
I imagine it to be one like that, but the shag
Oh,
carpet's covered in
don't
blood.
ruin the VW bus for me like that. Oh,
I don't
that's
know. I like the
horrible.
big like conversion vans with like the wood paneling and I don't
wood
know.
panels.
wood paneling.
Yeah.
Can
with, like,
you
the
say
ladder
that?
on the
Wood
back.
paneling.
Paneling.
I like wood paneling.
That was a good joke for a long time.
No,
Funny side story for the shed. I had met Adam maybe like 4 years ago ish. I think it was around the time you had Reese. Anyway, there was one point where we're sitting in the living room and Reese is trying to talk to me, and we were looking at the floor, and I go, wood paneling, or someone goes, wood paneling, and Reese just kind of looks up, and we go, wood paneling, can you say that? And that's been a running joke from when he was like 2 all the way on.
He says it every day after you leave.
Yeah, see, no, he never says it to me.
Can he actually say wood paneling?
Oh, yeah. So Gaskins has another crime he can check off his hit list, right? He's also hired as a hitman.
Right. So that same year, Suzanne Kippur paid him $1,500 to kill her ex-boyfriend, Silas Yates. John Powell and John Owens handled the communication between Gaskins and Kippur concerning the arrangement of the murder. Who are they? Do we even touch who they are?
That's a good question.
Just the people involved in this part.
Sure. So on February 12th, 1975, Diane Neely lured him out of the house by claiming to have car trouble.
Who the hell is Diane Neely?
She's the one who, who the fuck is that?
Yeah, what the fuck? Because this Suzanne Kippur bitch hired him to kill her ex... Okay, no, go down. Thank you. To kill her ex-boyfriend, who was Silas Yates. So these other 2 guys, John Powell and John Owens, handled communication between her and Gaskins, okay? And then on February 12th, when the murder happened, Diane Neely, whoever that was, who the hell is this lady?
You know what? That might
Why
have been
is she
Silas's
bait?
current girlfriend, rather.
Well,
I don't
it
know.
could
This
be
is
a
like a whole
boyfriend,
party
too.
of murder.
Because
Yeah, this is
Leave it
weird.
at that.
I guess, but then his current girlfriend would also have to want to murder him. Whoever Diane Neely is, she also wants Silas Yates.
This guy just
Yeah.
has a
Silas
really bad...
sucks.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this guy has a really bad track record
Fuck
with women.
Silas.
Right. Well, all 3 helped bury him, so.
Okay, well, perfect.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So Silas is gone.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Silas is gone. So Diane Neely and her boyfriend, who is not Silas Yates, apparently,
Oh, I'm glad we know that now.
decided to blackmail Gaskins. They asked for $5,000 in hush money.
All right, Stormy Daniels, go back to your hole.
So again, this brings up the fact: who the fuck is Diane Neely?
We're going to have to look that up later. If there's just another beer
That's
break,
the
we're
real
going to figure out what that
mystery.
is. So Gaskins quickly got rid of them after he arranged a meeting for the payoff. Around the same time, Gaskins had tortured and killed other people he knew, such as Kim Gelkins, a 13-year-old who had rejected him.
Oh.
This is an old
Dude,
fucking
how
man at this
old
point.
are you?
He's okay. If this was in 1975, he is approximately
40.
Yeah,
He's
he's
like,
almost. He's like 38.
He was born in 33.
Yeah,
He's 42. You're... What?
I
That's
should be
why
saying
she
that's an old
rejected-
fucking man. I'm like rounding the
Stop.
corner to 40 soon.
Old
so
man for a
whatever.
13
all I'm
to be
saying
hit.
is,
Yeah.
would you try and pick up a 13-year-old and then get mad that they rejected you?
No.
Yeah. That's
What the
normal.
fuck,
What 13?
dude?
I mean, when he
I
was
don't
in his
understand.
20s and he married that 13-year-old, that it didn't make sense. But it's
It's even getting crazier, yeah, with this.
Right. So 2 locals robbed Gaskins' repair shop without knowing about his bad side. He eventually...
Ooh.
Fuck with
Ooh,
the
he's
wrong
got-
Pee-wee.
Ooh, he's got a bad
I like
side?
bad
Wow.
boy.
What makes you say that?
He has a dark side. Really? He eventually killed and buried these 2 other locals in his private cemetery.
Which he bragged about to everybody.
Once again, he called on Walter Neely. Is Walter Neely
Whoa,
related?
Whoa, Diane and Walter Neely.
That's right.
I wonder.
That's her boyfriend.
Wait, no. He killed Diane Neely's boyfriend and Diane.
So
Right.
they obviously are related. But
Maybe it's his sister.
once again, Walter Neely helped out burying the bodies. While there, Gaskins even showed Neely where he had buried other locals.
including his supposed sister, maybe.
Yeah,
We
Oh,
haven't
whoever
beautiful.
Diane is.
I got a secret to show you. Now, after the
Don't
disappearance
tell
of
Mom.
Kim Gelkins, the authorities began to become suspicious of Gaskins. Really? Yeah.
Oh, only now?
There's something about this guy.
Only now guys killed like 100 fucking people.
Now, after they searched his apartment, they found clothing that had been worn by Gelkins. This is common of serial
Yes,
serial
like
killers, other killers.
keeping tokens
Keep
and
a little
stuff.
trophy.
Yeah.
Now, Gaskins was indicted for contributing to the delinquency of a minor. What is
So,
that?
That sounds like she ran away to be with him, even
Yeah.
though she ran away to him because she must have trusted him or something, and then he hit on her, and she was like, "No, ew, you're old," and he was like, "Bam."
Oh my god.
See, because the delinquency of a minor makes me think that she ran away and he was housing her, and that's like I don't know.
That sounds about right. That makes sense.
That's the
don't-
closest I can fancy up in my head.
I don't think we've taken 1 second of this podcast seriously.
You really can't at this point.
No, you really can't. The story
It's
is
like
just
so
wild.
yeah.
Everywhere.
The more you get into it, the more crazy shit happens,
Yeah.
and it never seems to stop.
Adam, you said it right. If there was a crime at all possible, this man has
He's done it all. He's done it all. This guy, he gets what, 5 Scully fingers on the crime scale? Definitely.
For sure.
His
He's
entire life, from the day that he died, he was lying and manipulating. From the day that he was born, he was lying and manipulating and killing.
So, like we said, Gaskins finds himself in trouble for contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Now, Neely ends up under the pressure, cracks, and while waiting for trial, and showed up for police.
Oh God, Neely
Blah.
cracked. The
Help me
beer
out
is
here.
getting to you. So Neely cracked under pressure while waiting for the trial and showed police Gaskins' private cemetery. In the cemetery, they found the bodies of the following. See here: Sellers, Judy Howard, Diane Neely, Johnny Knight, Dennis Bellamy, Doreen Dempsey, and her child. I thought that was in the woods in the stump. Maybe the stump's in the private cemetery.
It could be.
One of those
Maybe.
men is Diane Neely's boyfriend.
One of them.
That's all I know.
So on April 27th, 1976, Gaskins and Walter Neely were charged on 8 counts of murder. On May 24th, 1976, a jury convicted Gaskins of the murder of Dennis Bellamy, and he was sentenced to death. In an attempt to avoid additional death sentences, he later confessed to 7 more murders.
Why? You already got one. Why
See,
are
that's
you running
what
from the other
when I
ones?
was
You're
reading
already
these notes,
fucked.
that's what I was thinking exactly too. You already have one death sentence. How many lives are you anticipating on living? I don't understand this.
Right, but a
this
lot of
part
times
it.
they can get the death sentence off the table if you confess and show where the bodies are.
Yeah.
That's what, like, Ted Bundy was trying to do. But,
Closure
like,
for the
But
families.
waited way too long to do that.
So, like, what would that benefit the Gaskins for?
He just wouldn't get the death penalty. He'd get life.
He'd get life.
Generally.
So he could live the rest of his
Could
life.
live on and be a little peewee in prison.
You mean escape from
Or
prison?
probably-
escape,
he
or
probably
just like
could, yeah.
live his best life in prison.
That's probably his thought. Just give me life. I'll find a way out.
Probably, actually, yeah.
I found my way out before. Why not try
I
now?
can do it again.
Yep. So in November of 76, the Supreme Court ruled that the death penalty was unconstitutional. Oh, good for him. So now he does get to live his best
I
life out.
just keeps.
So his sentence was converted to life with 7 consecutive life sentences rather than 7 consecutive death sentences. In 78, the death penalty, however, was restored. It didn't mean anything to him until he was caught and found guilty for being paid to murder a fellow prisoner whose name was Rudolph Tyner.
I love this murder.
This conviction caused him to receive a death sentence because he didn't receive 8 before.
Well, what
Okay.
happened with this? This is like the craziest one, isn't it?
I don't know. You tell me.
All right.
Tell us about it, Adam.
Please.
So I believe this is the one where he's gonna play the telephone game. You guys remember that?
Oh,
where you
my
take
God,
like
yes.
that game.
couple of solo cups, you put a string between it, kind of a thing, and hey Jake, how are you? And then you would just kind of go back. and forth.
fine. How are you, Adam?
Jake,
Such a high-pitched voice.
you sound like a girl. But,
thank you.
So-
I should start using my Snapchat
but get
filters.
this, what he does, what he does, right, is he gets somebody to send him explosive material to the prison. And so, in one of the cups, it's like a prison cup that they standard issue kind
What,
of
they
thing.
send him a cell phone?
How many men does this guy know outside of prison?
Everybody.
Sorry,
Everybody,
just a
everybody.
side tangent. Like, who sends this guy dynamite? Who did that?
So what he did, yeah, I know. Somebody's like, I'm gonna risk my life and send
Everybody
some
who
fucking.
wants to be on his good side, because Pee-wee's just going to slip through the cracks, literally.
So,
Yeah, right.
So he ends up
He's
getting.
like a ferret where he goes, yeah.
He ends up getting, I believe, like half a stick of dynamite type of material, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now in this cup, he has instead of a string, it's an electrical wire with a one. I'm assuming to be a 110, an outlet plug-in on the other end.
Yeah.
So he puts the cup, the wire through the cup, packs it with the explosive, hands it to old Rudolph here, right? And
Can I just preface this by saying this Rudolph guy already sounds retarded?
Don't use the R word.
Oh,
Jake.
the R word.
Sorry.
He's taking it back to the 30s.
Sorry. I had to be appropriate with the time.
Get with
Stop
the
fucking
times.
saying the R word, Jake.
Yeah, watch
No.
your fucking mouth, Jake.
No.
Jeez.
No.
So this person actually is mentally challenged to some degree, and so he tells him I believe what I hear is put the cup up to your ear. And tell me when you hear the bang. So he puts the cup up to his ear and plugs it into the wall. Boom! Blowing Rudolph shit all over the place. Rudolph's dead. So and then Gaskins. That's it. He's done. Blown up. And so then Gaskins runs out like everybody else, like, what the hell happened here? Just playing it kind of like, he's just a spectator of this crazy, crazy event. But
Wow.
yeah, that's my favorite thing he did so far.
That's your favorite?
Can you just imagine?
Can you believe it? But for that one, though,
Literally.
Mind blown.
for that one, Pee-wee,
Oh no.
Pee-wee did get the death sentence on that one.
Oh God.
So now he's got nothing to lose, right?
Right.
So he begins to confess to other murders to try to avoid the electric chair. Like you said, the old Ted Bundy routine. I guess this would really be the Pee-wee routine because he did this before Ted Bundy. Now, if these confessions were true, he would be the worst killer in South Carolina. Now, what would these confessions be totally?
I don't know. So let's see here. If the confessions were totally true, he would be the worst killer in South Carolina's history. He admitted to the murder of Peggy Coutinho, but the prosecutors had already charged and sentenced William Pierce to life in prison for the murder. Gaskins' confession was rejected.
See, that wording upsets me.
Yeah.
I did it. No, you didn't.
You almost
Right.
wonder if that guy did it or he didn't.
Yeah, like if there's someone,
I bet they didn't even look into it.
I doubt it. There's already someone serving that, and it's not like she's gonna get any more alive.
Some of the other confessions that he made. Was that he
You're
was
not wrong.
he had
Don't
killed
worry.
some 90 to 100 people along the highway in the North Carolina, South Carolina area, right?
It's like those 80 to a million children that, no one reported missing.
Yeah. I mean, he said he just had to. These were giving him bothersome feelings, and he first confessed them to his daughter.
Yep.
Yeah, that he had. But the thing is with that is that a lot of people believe this to not be true because of all these people, not really any were reported missing. So it sounds like he's just trying to inflate his numbers.
I just
Right.
feel like if 80 children went missing, there would have been newspapers and police notified.
Posters.
It
If
would have been
eight
an
children
epidemic.
went missing
Yeah.
along a road, you know what I mean, and
Not a
not
coincidence.
just children, but I believe he said there were adults, male, female. He didn't really give a shit.
Right.
You didn't discriminate. Kind of.
Well, that was very ahead of the curve of him, and we can all appreciate that, especially in 2019.
Right.
It's
You did
great.
discriminate a little bit with that little baby.
Can we talk about how he died? It's
Yeah.
kind of crazy. I was just reading that.
We didn't even talk about his book.
Well, we can talk about his book after we talk
Okay.
about how he died because it came out after.
Okay.
What, he wrote the book that came
Well,
out
what had
afterwards?
happened with the book was that it was written before he died, but part of the stipulation was that it could not be
Released
until he died. Yeah.
What, did he
Okay.
make that stipulation?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so on the day of his execution, he decided he was going to slit his wrists in a last attempt to avoid the electric chair. However, that didn't work, and his wrists were stitched up, and he was put in the electric chair and pronounced dead. Done. Sorry, you don't
So-
get to take your own life.
And this was on September 6th of 1991.
Correct.
So if in a last attempt to avoid the electric chair, does that mean he was trying to, kill himself, or he was trying to
He was trying to die on his own terms.
Either that
Okay.
or to try to avoid death.
See,
So
'cause
that's why
what
he's
I was
confessing the
thinking.
shit
I
he
was
didn't
thinking
do.
Maybe he was just giving all these confessions, and then he tried to become suicidal so he could get mental help or whatever.
I don't think they cared about
They
mental
didn't give a
health
shit
back
about that
then.
in the
No.
30s.
Well, no,
even
it's
in the 1991.
I mean, still,
Fucking 90s, That was
They don't even
so,
care about it now.
I was just, yeah, okay, it's a whole different tangent.
Do heroin. Take out your problems that way.
I just don't understand his motivation for cutting his wrists like that. I'm glad that they didn't fall for it.
He's just taking the bitch way out. That's all it is.
That's mean. Anyway, I digress. So it is unknown how many murders Gaskins actually committed, since information was never provided for all of the bodies. Maybe he just wanted to be known as the most prolific serial killer in South Carolina. One thing we know for certain is that Donald Pee-wee Gaskins was a psychopath and had no regard for human life.
Obviously.
Amen.
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 And that's his
Amen.
final truth.
That is the final truth.
We want to talk about his book? The Final
Yes.
The
Truth?
final truth, I mean, that's really
Is
what
that
it
really
is.
what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? The funny thing about the title is it's called The Final Truth, but it seems like it's filled with a bunch of bullshit.
So who wrote it?
What it was that he had told he had
Wilton
worked
Earl.
with author Wilton Earl to compile all his life story. Part of it was like I said earlier, that it could not be released until he died, and I think a lot of that was because he had packed it so full of shit that he didn't want to have to answer the questions to it. He just wanted to go down as the most infamous man in South Carolina, if not the whole country at the time.
So really, the book isn't even a source. It's mostly just the ramblings of someone who wanted to be famous.
And isn't it kind of expensive?
Yeah, I looked on Amazon. It was like...
They sell it
Yeah.
on Amazon.
Yeah,
it's a published book.
Yeah, it's so funny. I actually had that link pulled up. I'm not even going to lie to you. So, Final Truth, the autobiography of a serial killer. The hardcover on Amazon is written by himself and Wilton Earl. Hardcover used from $291. Brand new mass market paperback, $500.
Oh my god.
So if anyone ever wants to contribute to your Patreon for that one day, I'll do select readings from it.
Oh,
That
that
would
would
be great.
If somebody
yeah.
could mail us a copy of this book.
Right?
Oh,
We're asking
boy.
for a
I
lot.
don't
I
care
would
who you
love
have
you
to murder
forever.
for that. Just send it on over.
Send it on over.
You get a
That would
murder
be
for
great.
that? We'll get Pee Wee Gaskins on it.
So, I guess my question would be, who's profiting from those sales? Is it his daughter?
I'd say Wilton Earl probably. He's the
Just-
author.
He's,
technically.
he,
The author,
him
probably.
and Pee Wee Gaskins co-wrote it.
So now that Pee Wee Gaskins is dead, though, is all the profits goes to this Wilton Earl guy?
I would imagine.
I wonder
Yeah.
how much they make on that. Like, who actually wants to spend $300 to $500 on a book
If
that
I was-
isn't really that factual?
If I was independently wealthy, that would definitely be something that I have.
Yeah, be interesting to read. And I bet you back in 1991, it was probably, a reasonably priced book. It's probably rare now.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, I
bet
doubt it
you
was
there
$300 in 1991 money.
Oh, I wonder how much or how many copies they sold back in 91 when it came out.
You
Or
know, I
93
bet-
when it came out. Sorry.
I bet there's a statistic on that.
Probably.
I bet there's a digital copy for far less, too.
Unfortunately.
I bet I could torrent it.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
just going to say, there's websites to do that for college books. I guarantee you could do that for serial killer
I'm going to check when I get home.
Yeah, this would be a fun read.
Again, Patreon. Pay money to watch her do something for free.
So that was our story on Donald Pee Wee Gaskins. A little man with a big attitude and a lot of bite. Probably full of shit, though, on a lot of
I feel
it,
like you're
though.
ending a children's book.
He reminds me of
That's
a chihuahua.
our story. The end.
That's our story. Subscribe.
He's the human incarnation of a chihuahua.
Think so?
Yeah.
Maybe.
He's got that, what's that complex? That
mean,
chihuahua.
Little man syndrome.
He
Yeah.
couldn't even hit
Yeah.
somebody with an axe and kill him.
What do you mean? He killed a baby with a hatchet.
Well, that's a baby, but he knocked somebody on the head. His very first
it
his
was probably
B&E.
it was probably a rubber mallet.
No, dude, it was an axe.
I don't know.
I'm
Like
pro-
I've
okay.
said this before, I think I probably could have got away from Pee Wee Gaskins, but that's just me.
I slightly weigh more than he does. I probably could have.
Yeah.
I run fast for a small person. I have very short legs, but they move quick.
I'm just good at wrestling.
So what do we got left on this, Jake?
Me finishing this beer.
You haven't
And
finished
maybe-
yet?
I haven't either. I've just been rambling.
What is wrong
Oh,
with
have you
people?
finished your beer?
I have. Oh, wait, there's a sip left.
Oh.
Never mind. I
Oh.
stand corrected. I will finish this beer.
So we would like everybody to check out our social media. You can
Yep.
find our Facebook, Stories from the Shed, Instagram, Stories from the Shed Podcast, YouTube, Stories from the Shed Podcast, Twitter, @Stories from Shed, Snapchat, Stories from Shed.
Oh, they're both Russian.
Oh, yes.
That's amazing.
The Russians love us.
Any post that you make from our Snapchat has to be with a Russian thing going on.
Breznovania.
Thank you.
And probably our favorite one, our Gmail.
Yeah, send us some emails.
sftspodcast@gmail.com. Thank you, Jurgen and Emily, for coming on tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a good time.
This
I don't
was
think
probably
I've...
one of the funnest ones we've done in a while.
Yep,
Can
I
you
agree.
tell me how to spell the Snapchat username?
Stories from
Stories
Shed.
Shed. I can't do a Russian accent.
STORIESFROMSHED.
That's right.
Hold
And-
on. We're not turning this off until we're sure that Emily has added our Snapchat.
Aw, thanks. I can't
Aw.
spell shed. I keep putting F instead of D.
Be like Emily.
Give me the
Add our
G.
Snapchat.
Add our Snapchat.
Add
Add
our
our
Snapchat,
everything.
guys.
So you know what? It says no results with a poopy face. Are you sure?
Are you serious?
Yeah,
I'm
I've
serious,
added
bro.
them. Did you guys get the
How?
video I sent you of all the beer over at the German restaurant?
No?
No?
Who
Holy
has the
shit.
Snapchat? Because That's important.
I sent you this
Both
whole
do.
giant video.
You can't both be logged into the Snapchat.
I don't even have it installed on my phone.
Oh, my bad.
Okay, well then don't add our Snapchat yet. We'll figure it out.
We'll
and
figure
get
that
back
out.
to you. 'Cause
We'll
that's
add
really
it.
annoying.
Whatever. We'll figure it out.
Well, I guarantee it's not stories from Shed.
Is it stories from the shed?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Hold on,
next
let's
time.
waste more airtime. Do.
Well, it's not like we're paying for it.
That's true. Actually, I'm paying for it. Thank you.
It's Wi-Fi. No, it's not stories from the Shed. Poopy face again.
Nah, we'll figure
It's
that
poopy
out.
face again.
We'll figure it out.
Add us at poopy face again.
You know what? That has to be your username. Oh, you know what?
And with that,
Guys,
I
guys.
wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas and good night.
Happy New Year, everybody.
I love you all.
Bye-bye.
You know what, guys? It actually is stories from the Shed. I'm just stupid.
Wait, stories from the shed?
No, stories from Shed.
Oh, what? Why are you stupid?
I was on. You told me to silence my phone, so it was
Right.
on airplane mode this whole fucking time.
Well, no wonder you couldn't figure
I
it out.
know. I realized that. Okay, I got it. You're added. You're there.
Okay,
God.
at our Snapchat.
Thank
Stories
you.
from Shed.
Stories from Shed.
Okay, Merry Christmas, good night.